with is my photos are backed up. They automatically go into the cloud, so I'm good. Or they'll say, I know I have everything on an external hard drive somewhere, and I'm not really worried about it. But then when they actually need that certain photo, they can't find it. They know it exists somewhere, but they just don't know where. And even when they find the right folder, it can take hours to dig through everything and locate that one memory that you're looking for. Having thousands of photos backed up on a hard drive can create a false sense of security. And the files might be technically protected, right? But the stories behind the files, the people, the personalities, the relationships, the traditions, those might be still disappearing. And in this video, I'm going to explain to you the difference between storing your family's memories and preserving them. And we want to preserve them in a way that you, your children, and even your grandchildren can find, understand, enjoy, and pass down. I'm Ashley. I'm the founder of Rediscover Magic, where we take your scattered photos, your home videos, audio recordings, and other family memories, and we protect them in meaningful ways that your family can easily access, enjoy, and pass down for generations. So we go far beyond just organizing the files. Our mission is to preserve your family's story. If this is the first time you are seeing me, say hi in the comments and let me know, how are you currently backing up your photos and your memories, your videos? Do you use iCloud? Do you use Google Photos? Are you using an external hard drive? Are they on an old laptop somewhere? Or a combination of all three? And as we go through this, I want you to think about one special story, one special memory of a person that you love or something that was really important in your life and that you never want to lose. So keep that story in mind and tell me if this sounds familiar. It's summer. You have a family reunion coming up. Maybe somebody is putting together a slideshow to celebrate your parents' anniversary. Or maybe your family wants to honor an older relative and share photos from different stages of their life. Maybe there's a new grandbaby and everybody's looking for their old baby pictures so that they can compare. And you know you have the photos somewhere. And you even feel pretty good because you know you have backups, but the files are scattered. They're on phones, computers, cloud storages, an external hard drive, maybe even some devices that you haven't turned on in years. So you start searching. You open folders like old computer or family photos, phone backup, and then my favorite, to sort. That's what I name all of mine when I'm dumping things. And then you find three folders. They all seem to contain the same year, but you aren't sure whether they're duplicates or whether each one has different photos in it from different parts of the year. So you start scrolling. And then you find photos that you completely forgot that you had. So you stop to look at them, right? You stop to enjoy them. You smile at the photo of your kids when they were little. You find an old home movie and you decide that you'll just watch a few minutes. And before you know it, you have spent 2 hours going down the reminiscing rabbit hole. Now you've watched years of video and smiled at hundreds of photos and completely forgotten that you originally opened the hard drive to find one specific picture for the reunion slideshow, remember? So the memories might be backed up, but when you need them, they're still hard to find. And suddenly, having your photos safe isn't the same as having them be useful. So you know that they're there, but finding the right ones takes so much time that you either give up, you settle for using something else, or you tell yourself, I'll just come back to it later. And if you are the family memory keeper, you may be the only person who even has a vague idea of where anything is. And that is a lot of responsibility for you to carry. And this is where I get to give you a little bit of tough love. Your memories are not truly protected just because copies of the files exist somewhere. They must be stored in a way that makes sense, that's organized, and so that they can be found. Plus, they have to be preserved with enough context that someone other than you would know the importance and why they were kept. And something I hear all the time is, my memories are backed up, I'm good. But let me ask you this. Can anyone besides you, can anyone actually find those photos when they need it? And when they do find the old photos, do they understand what they're looking at? Would they know which memories actually matter most? And would they know why you chose to keep them? And if the answer is no, then your family legacy is still depending on you. And this is why it's important. I'm going to share why legacy preservation is more than hard drive storage and why this matters for you. When your memories are not stored and sorted properly, it won't matter very much that they are backed up, because no one can enjoy a photo if they can't find it. And even when someone does find it, they might not even care about it, right? They don't know who's in the picture, they don't know what's happening, and they don't know why your family kept it. I recently worked with a couple, I just shared a video about this, but I recently worked with a couple whose children looked at their stacks of family photos, albums, and they said, we don't really want these, or like, we don't care what you do with them. And when I heard that, my first thought was like, ooh, that has got to hurt as a parent to hear your kids say that, because these are like your precious memories. But I don't think that the children were saying that they didn't care about their family history. And these were adult children, by the way, for context. I think that they were looking at these piles of albums, and it equates to hours and hours of work that they would have to go through. And they might not even know which albums matter the most, or why certain photos were important. And without their parents to provide the context, some of that information might not even be possible to recover later. And so this is why we have to decide what is worth keeping. This is the biggest message, I think, if I have for you to take away anything today, is like, you have to decide what's worth keeping, and then preserve it in a way that makes it clear why it was kept. Because your hard drive can hold the images and the videos, but they can't tell your grandchildren about the amazing friendship that you had with the person who's standing in the back of the photo. It can't explain why everybody was laughing at an inside joke on the home movie. It can't explain or describe how your mother made every holiday feel special. And it can't explain why ordinary looking photographs are some of the most important pictures that your family owns. So the story behind the photo is just as important as the photo itself. And this is where people who have no context start asking questions like, who's this in this picture? Or like, what was happening here? Why did someone take this photo? Like, what were you guys doing? What makes this memory important to our family? What would I want my children or my grandchildren to understand about this person or this moment? Now, imagine you have 2 copies of the same photograph. Okay, the first one, it's just labeled Christmas 1987. That's it. The second one includes a story with it. And here's what the story says. This was the first Christmas in the house your grandparents built together. Your grandmother had been saving for years to buy the dining table behind them. Everyone squeezed into the room, and your grandfather insisted on making breakfast even though he burned the pancakes. So which one of these do you think you would want to pass on? The first version gives you a date, but the second version lets you feel like you were there in the room. And that is the difference between saving a photo and preserving a family story. If you would like to try this for yourself, I want you to choose one photo, maybe perhaps that memory that I asked you to choose earlier, if you took a photo. Choose a photo that you've seen before and that you have heard a parent, a sibling, or another relative talk about. And it doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to be the most beautiful photograph. Just choose one that brings up a story. Then ask someone who remembers better than you or who was there to tell you, who are all these people in this photo? What was happening? What do you remember the most about this photo, and why does it matter to you? And then record the conversation in their own voice, and that will give you the story. Then you get to make a decision. Where are you going to save the recording? How are you going to connect the recording to the photograph? And how will someone else know that those 2 files belong together? So when your children are going through your hard drive later in life, will they be able to find both of them 5, 10 years from now? And this is where people realize that collecting the story is only one part of the process. You also need a system in place that keeps the photo, the voice, and the context all connected together. This part might be a little hard for you to hear, but if you are the only person who knows where and how your memories are stored, you do not have a system. You are the system. And that's a problem, because you could become the bottleneck. You do become the bottleneck. And most people, especially women typically, they become the keeper of the family memories by default. They know which box in the basement has the wedding photos, or what family member typically takes videos at birthdays. They know which relative took home the family albums, and they know which external hard drive has photos from a certain decade and which, camcorder or old laptop has everything else. And they're holding the entire map in their heads. It just lives up here. And it might work for now, but it's not a system that your family can depend on long term, right? Excuse me. If everyone has to call on you whenever they need a photograph or whenever they want to locate a video, or if they need help like identifying someone in the photo or they want to understand a story, everything still depends on you. And your family shouldn't have to inherit an old hard drive with no directions or no context. They should receive something that they can understand, find, enjoy, and continue using. And that's going to take more effort than just moving everything into a large folder. It's going to require simpler organization, consistent naming conventions, reliable backups, useful details, and a folder structure that another person could look at and be able to follow without needing you beside them. So if you were unavailable for the next 6 months, could someone in your family find the most important photographs, videos, recordings, audio recordings, documents without your help, without you being there? Would they know where to look? Would the folders make sense to them, and what would they know which files are the most important? And if the answer is no, then it means the responsibility has become too dependent on you individually. And it doesn't mean anything negative about you. It's a sign that it might be time for you to stop carrying all of this on your own, right? So one reason that families keep putting this project off, this might be you, is because they feel like they have to label and organize every single thing, every duplicate, all the blurry pictures, every video, every PDF file, every screenshot. Screenshots is a whole other class. And that makes the project feel exhausting before you even start. So I want you to remember what I mentioned earlier. Legacy is not about keeping everything. Legacy is about intentionally preserving what matters most. And so the goal isn't to hand your children a hard drive filled with thousands of random files. The goal is to hand your memories over in a way that helps them to easily find the moments, the stories, the voices, the traditions that are most important to you and your family. And what you decide to spend your time going through, the memory files, when you do that, your job is not to spend hours, going through and deleting things. Your job is to decide which moment and which stories are worth keeping. Which stories help explain who your family is, whose voice or story needs to be told and needs to be recorded. What traditions would you like to pass down? Which photographs best represent the people and the moments that you love? It's almost like writing a memoir for yourself, but with all this extra media, right? What home videos would your family actually enjoy watching again? And which memories belong in what kind of format, right? Like film, book, digital archive, cookbook, recording, or another type of family keepsake. So this is where a professional makes a huge difference. So you know your family better than anyone else, but you also might be too close to the material to understand or to even know where to start or what to leave out. And you also are balancing a lot of things in your life, right? You've got work, children, community events, grandchildren, aging parents, travel, everything else that comes with your daily life. So I know that this project matters to you. And I know that it just keeps falling to the bottom of the list because it doesn't feel urgent. It requires time, technical knowledge, emotional energy, and hundreds of small little decisions that it's just exhausting to make. So I know you care a lot about this project. And what I found that this means typically is that you want it to be perfect. And so you just don't start at all because you don't want to do it wrong. So I want you to imagine you have a box filled with hundreds of family recipe cards. This is an example. So one option would be to scan every recipe card and to place all the files into a folder. Okay, now the recipes are technically saved, right? But I want you to imagine this instead. Imagine that you choose the recipes that your family actually remembers. You preserve the handwriting from your mom or from your grandmother. You include photos of everybody who was gathered around the table to eat a meal. You record a family member explaining which dish was made every Thanksgiving and why everybody looked forward to it. Then you turn those pieces into a keepsake cookbook that your family can use, enjoy, and pass down. Like what an excellent gift, right? Like a Christmas gift or something. Both of these examples save the recipes, but only one of the examples makes your family excited to open it and experience those memories again. And it serves the useful purpose of being able to share those recipes with the rest of your family. So your family's not going to be excited. I promise you, they're not going to be excited about rummaging through all the folders and subfolders that are filled with files on your hard drive or on an old laptop. What they're going to want is to hear the voices, to hear music, see faces, read stories, and feel the joy that comes from reliving those memories. And this is why family legacy can take all kinds of different forms. It might include a protected searchable drive, right? It might include something that's very clear and easy to get through. Excuse me. Or it might become a life storybook preserved with photographs with QR codes that link to home videos. Your family might prefer professionally edited home video highlights that they sit down and watch together. That's one thing my family and I love to do, is watch old home movies together. And it's not a thing that a lot of people do anymore. I'm going to grab a drink really quick. Excuse me. I've got a tickle. So for another family, the right choice might be that keepsake cookbook that I was talking about earlier, or recorded interviews, even a legacy song. You all know I love to write songs. So imagine a custom song written for a specific moment or memory in your life that captures the heart of the story. So the format that you choose should match the way that your family would actually enjoy and use the memories. So think about what would be natural for them. You know, would your grandchildren or your children enjoy scanning a code in a book and hearing their great grandmother tell the story herself? Would they love a short family film that brings together old videos, photos, music, and voices all together? Would they connect more with a book that is more like a memoir storytelling that explains all the people, the places, and the traditions that shaped who they are? Or perhaps the most meaningful experience for them might be gathering everybody together for a special reveal and then like watching everybody rediscover the moments together. It might be fun also to get everybody's reactions there, right? And like their stories and their takes and the things that their perspectives were of these events. So the goal isn't to choose like the most impressive or fancy thing. It's to create something that your family will enjoy. What is your family going to open, to read, to listen to share and enjoy? And then choose that. That's what turns your stored files into a living family legacy. So this is too important for you to leave as a someday project. I'm not the kind of person who's going to tell you to like panic and like you need to do this now, you're going to lose everything. That's one of my biggest pet peeves. It's like, no. I don't believe in using fear to convince families to preserve their memories. But I am going to tell you that someday never comes. There will never be a time where you are not busy, right? There's always going to be a busy season in your life. There's always going to be family events, a work deadline. There's always going to be a reason to put this project off. And it will probably never feel urgent until it's too late, which is what I do not want for you, right? A hard drive crashing, a loved one passing away, and then you are like urgently looking for things. I don't want that to be the reason that you're motivated to do this kind of a project. Because while all this stuff is happening, your daily emergencies and busy seasons, your parents are still aging. Your children are growing up. Technology is continuing to change. Devices fail. Your passwords get forgotten. Sometimes you forget you even have accounts. And the stories feel impossible to forget today. But over time, you slowly start to lose the details from your memory. And so the right time is to start is when your family members are still here to answer the questions and to share their stories. Start when someone can still point to a person in a photograph and tell you who they are. or when they can explain what was happening in the home movie, all the things we just talked about, right? And then capture the story in their own voice with their personality, their laughter, and the little details intact. Make this process something that your family gets to experience together instead of something that you have to carry on your own. You shouldn't be forced to figure all of this out during a stressful or difficult time of your life. Make this a weekly thing that you do with your family. You don't need to do it all in one sitting. You don't need to do it all at once. And you don't even need to know where to start if you have support. You shouldn't be in charge. Like, you shouldn't be the digital organizer, the interviewer, the writer, the video editor, the designer, the project manager, right? You need a clear process and a trusted person who knows how to guide you through it. And that's what we help our clients with. So we begin by learning about your family, about the people who matter most in your life, and the stories that you do not want to lose, the very important stories in your life. Then we look at what you already have. And so this might be, like we talked about earlier, photos, videos, recordings, journals, documents, family albums, boxes that haven't been opened in years. And together we decide what matters most, right? And we put together, we decide, well, before we put it together, we decide, right? Like, what kind of finished legacy would feel right for your family. Then we gather those files, we organize them in a way that makes sense for you. We protect the media, we add the names and the details. We connect the stories to the right photographs and videos. And from there, we create heirlooms and family experiences that will fit your vision of what your family needs. So again, that might be a protected digital collection. It might be just this, but on the inside, it's easy to navigate. It's beautiful. It's clear what is going on, and people can enjoy that. It might be a storybook, like a family yearbook, or one of those big, legacy heirloom books that has the family history in it. Not just the family trees, but like the stories behind everything. Maybe it's a family film with recorded interviews and it's like edited documentary style. Maybe it's a keepsake cookbook, or it could be a combination of those things. So we review everything with you, and you're with us along the way, right? We're making these decisions together, and it still feels like your family. I want it to be, this is all about you and your family and what works best for them. Finally, we get to experience my favorite part, which is the legacy reveal. So this is where we take your completed legacy and we present it to you in one of these beautiful formats we just talked about, these beautifully curated keepsake experiences. And your family gets to see, hear, and enjoy these stories together. And this stops being a project, like just another project on the back burner for you. It stops being something that like waits for someday to come. Because like I said, like you're never going to feel like you have time to finish this project. It's too overwhelming. It's too big. So we provide a guided done for you process that takes the technical work, the creative decisions, and the project management off your plate. You stay connected to the heart of the project without having to carry all of the pieces, especially not carrying everything alone. So remember, a hard drive can be part of protecting your legacy, but a hard drive by itself is not a family legacy. A legacy is organized. It has names, it has details, and it's going to include the stories behind those moments. It lets your family hear the voices, see the faces, understand why those moments and memories matter. And it helps the people who you love to feel connected to you and to your family, to your traditions, to your heritage, and your family history. So I want you to take an honest look at your memories, and maybe the important ones we talked about earlier. Ask yourself, are they just stored somewhere? Or could your family find them, understand them, enjoy them, and pass them down without needing to explain everything? Because one day someone you love will want to relive and enjoy these memories, these beautiful stories from your family. So we want to make sure that they can. If you are thinking, I know this needs to be done, but I do not have the time or the energy to take on another huge project, this is exactly what I help families with. Type the word legacy, drop it down below. I'll send you a private link to book a call with me, and we'll just talk about it. We can talk about what you have, what you would love to create, and what it would look like to preserve your family's memories in a way that feels meaningful and manageable for you. I would love to take this huge task off of your plate. I would love to help create a done for you family legacy project that your family can enjoy for generations to come.